Peru News Today. All you need to know about Peru.
Electoral fraud in Venezuela by the dictator Nicolás Maduro. Hello friends and welcome to our channel. Don't forget to like, subscribe and activate the bell so you don't miss any of our upcoming posts. Let's start. The Uruguayan president confirmed that what is happening in the country is a dictatorship and added, when evaluating recent events, that we had suspicions and this would be confirmation that there was fraud. After 2 days of demonstrations against electoral fraud, dictator Nicolás Maduro ordered a military and police patrol throughout the country starting this Wednesday. At least 13 civilians in the midst of the wave of repression launched by the regime against those who demand respect for the will expressed at the polls on Sunday. The Venezuelan Armed Forces, the main supporter of the Chavista regime, expressed their absolute loyalty and unconditional support to Maduro, according to what the Venezuelan Minister of Defense, General Vladimir Padrino López, said this Tuesday. Meanwhile, the international community continues to demand that the National Electoral Council publish the voting records that certify the published data, especially after the opposition leader Maria Corina Machado released the certificates of more than 70% of the polling stations throughout the country that give Edmundo González Urrutia as the winner. Maria Corina Machado expressed her gratitude to the Foreign Minister of Paraguay for denouncing the electoral fraud perpetrated by Maduro in Venezuela. The leader of the Venezuelan opposition Maria Corina Machado expressed this Wednesday her gratitude to the Foreign Minister of Paraguay, Rubén Ramírez Lezcano, for his denunciation of the total partiality of the Venezuelan electoral system during the extraordinary meeting of the Organization of American States to address the electoral fraud perpetrated by the dictatorship of Nicolás Maduro in the Caribbean country. The world must know that we are determined to enforce our will expressed in the votes, expressed the leader of Venezuela on her social networks. Machado highlighted the importance of Lezcano's demand for respect for the will of the Venezuelan people, expressed in the presidential elections of July 28. In addition, she stressed the defense of the right of Venezuelans to peaceful demonstration. The anti-Chavista leader also called on the international community to be aware of the determination of the Venezuelan people to assert their will expressed through votes, emphasizing the importance of transparency and respect for democratic processes. The American Brian Nichols, Undersecretary of State for Western Hemisphere Affairs, spoke on behalf of his country during the emergency session convened by the OAS and assured that Edmundo González Urrutia received millions more votes than Nicolás Maduro. Supporting the numbers released by the opposition based on the election minutes, which the ruling party refuses to hand over, the official stated that Maduro and his representatives must recognize the real results of the elections that they implemented and in which they participated. Given the overwhelming evidence obtained by documented evidence of millions of votes cast, Maduro and his representatives must recognize Edmundo González Urrutia as the winner of the July 28 presidential elections. Given the clear evidence, the governments of the world should also recognize the resounding electoral victory of Edmundo González, he insisted. Finally, he noted that those who do not do so will only be allowing the attempted massive fraud of Maduro and his representatives, and the contempt for the rule of law and democratic principles. The Brazilian government agreed to represent Argentina's interests in Venezuela, following dictator Nicolás Maduro's decision to expel diplomats and close the Argentine embassy in Caracas. The novelty constitutes a gesture by the government of Lula da Silva, in the midst of the upheaval that the Caribbean country is going through due to the flawed elections held on Sunday, July 28. Fedecamaras, the largest employer association in Venezuela, asked this Tuesday the National Electoral Council, CNE, to respect the will of the majority of the citizens and, in this sense, to begin the audit, verification and subsequent publication of all of the minutes issued in the presidential elections on Sunday, which is also demanded by the majority opposition, NGOs and a good part of the international community. Fraud in Venezuela. The OAS rejected a draft resolution that asked the CNE to publish the electoral records, with the abstention of Brazil and Colombia, and the absence of Mexico. The regional forum ruled out an initiative endorsed by the United States, Argentina, Paraguay, Chile, and Uruguay. The Organization of American States, OAS, failed in its attempt to condemn the electoral fraud and illegal repression ordered by Nicolás Maduro, after last Sunday's presidential elections in Venezuela. Don't forget to leave your comment, like this video, and subscribe to continue growing, and follow us on our social networks, Facebook, YouTube, Instagram and TikTok to stay up to date with all our updates. Thanks for joining us and see you in the next video. Until next time. Bye.
Peru News Today. Follow us on Facebook and Instagram.